Hey, how's it going, guys? Garcia here with another portfolio update. So in this video, I'll break down the portfolio, any moves that I made today, posts that I put on Twitter, and I'll give the shoutouts at the end of the video. So today we're back up above 126K. We are at $126,184.62 after hours now. So here, we'll look at the traditional IRA. We're up 2% today, up 0.5% in the past week, up 20% in the last month, 37% in the last 3, and 41.8% all time, year to date, all time. So today, in this account, didn't do anything. Today's return percent, so TSLA went up by 6.5%, and Palantir went up by 1.3%. Which is what is nice is that the covered calls are not as painful now. So if you go to today's return on here, you'll see that they're not negating as much of the gains as they were. So when you're getting closer to the money, like right now that TSLA has kind of relaxed a bit, this covered call is not negating as much of the wins, as much of the profits as it was last week when Tesla was absolutely normal. So that's good for the portfolio. Yeah, because you can see here, percent change. Yeah, so it's nice to be performing at least above what Palantir did today. All right, in the Roth IRA, we actually have some changes here. So today we're up 1.5% today, 2.9 in the last week, 18 in the last month, 18 in the last 3 months, 31% year to date, and all time as well. So in this account, we actually made some moves. So you'll notice there are 3 new contracts. I sold TNA. I sold the triple leveraged small cap ETF, and I sold it in exchange to buy a call option. So I bought this call option on IWM, which is the Russell 2000, or 3000, right? Anyway, I bought the call option for January 2025, and I believe that small caps are going to be going up, especially now that interest rates are being priced in. So I think this contract will do really well, because I think by October, November, this should be pretty high up there. If not above 230, like it should be very, very close. And honestly, I'm not sure when I would sell it. I'm really not sure. I think I would probably sell it sometime in November and just take the profits then. But I think this is going to do really well. And, I noticed that the IV, if you look at the IV right at the top right, it says 17%, 17.77. So that's relatively low. So this contract cost me around $651. For a similar move in Amazon or another big tech company, this contract would have cost me around $1,300. So I'm just placing my bet on IWM here. Another one that I bought was a $10 call option on Sound. So SoundHound AI has been on a tear lately. So on March, it went up as high as $8, almost $9. I think it might have gone over $9. Oh, wow. Yeah, it went up to $10 back in March. And I think it's going to be doing a similar move. But this is a low conviction play. Really, this is a play that a friend of mine has kind of talked about. And I said, you know what? I'll toss in a couple $100. I mean, I paid 250, I think. Yeah, it was like 250 for these 3 contracts. And I'm just going to write it up, sell it as Sound approaches $10. And I'm not going to get greedy. I think once we start approaching $9, $10, I'm just going to take the profits and run. This is simply a trade for me. And another new one is Celsius. I bought an $80 call option on Celsius expiring January 2025. I like where Celsius is right here on, I guess, just a technical level. If you look at the year, the position where it's at now. I mean, if you could draw a horizontal line at the very, very bottom points, right? Like the bottom here, here, And here, you're on the lower range of this graph, of this chart. Instead of buying up here in the 60s or buying up here in the 90s. Excuse me. So I feel good about buying this here. And then when I zoom out even further, I feel even better about it, because you can kind of create like almost like a 45-degree line, or whatever degree line that is, that starts there. The line kind of has points here, 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 and here. This is touching that line, all throughout those points. Whereas this point here, and these 2 points here are more like in the overbought area, right? Like right way above that line. So for me to be buying this option with Celsius at under 60, I think it's going to be a good play. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to play it, and I do need to develop that exit strategy soon, because I don't want to be left, holding the bag, as you could say. So I'm just going to, I think I would start looking at, let's see, like RSI and maybe some moving averages, and seeing how high up is it going to be going above this moving average. And I guess the Bollinger Band. Let's see, go here on the weekly in the last year. So in the past 5 years, and I think the daily might be a little bit too, it might be a little too much noise. So I would guess maybe sometime in the weekly. I would sell it when we're approaching some type of overbought level on the RSI. So like once we see 70, I think would be a safe time to sell, as we've seen that level multiple times in the past 5 years. And even in the past year, on the weekly, we've already seen it twice in the past year. So I think selling it sometime when it's above like 65 on the RSI, not get greedy, just take the profits. And I think I would just I would probably sell it then, maybe with Celsius being at $80 or $90. But the trick is to get rid of it before the expiration date too. So I guess it all depends how Celsius moves from now and then. And let's see today's return, and today's return. So today's return on this account, TSLA, was the winner here, some Palantir. And I have some limit orders ready on Palantir. So I already have some limit orders. So if Palantir ever dips to 25, if it ever dips to 26.93, and I think 26.93 was just I think it was just one of these averages I think that I had used, and that's kind of how I came up with that number. Let's see. On this account, I think that's it for this one. All right, let's go to the big account. Up 1.63% today. Up 2.4 in the last week. Up 17.9 in the last month. 29.8 in the last 3. 45.7% year to date. 23.3 in the last year. And 15.2% all time. So today it was up 1.6. What did Palantir do today? I think 1.56. So, slightly over, outperformed Palantir. And what helped was the cash clear puts. So you look at today's return and today's return. So because these covered calls haven't been breached yet, they're not acting like as a massive weight against the returns. But I do have to be careful if Palantir starts, pushing way above 28.50. But I hope they announce their earnings date sometime soon, and then I can just get out of both of these contracts. I would probably stay with the 27s, but I just want to get rid of the $28.50 covered calls. I want to make sure I'm out of them, and then on earnings, depending on the price move, on the price action, if Palantir is going up and up and up for earnings, I would probably sell some very, very conservative covered calls. But if Palantir is flat or going down towards earnings, I won't have any covered calls open on Palantir, just because I want to avoid some type of blowout situation where they totally surprise everyone. Kind of what happened back in February. It closed at $16, and then the very next trading day it opened at 21. Anyone with $17, $18 covered calls got absolutely crushed. Absolutely crushed. They would have had to roll out a couple months. And then by then, missing out on all of this price action to be selling great covered calls after the move. So for me, I would just stay where I'm at, depending on where we're at on the, on the RSI. Like right now, the RSI is pretty low, pretty high, elevated. The RSI before earnings, if you look February, where is it? Was it this one? Oh yeah, here. Before their earnings on February 5th, RSI was relatively low. It was at 48. And then as soon as earnings hit, RSI shot up to 80, which is pretty overbought. This is on the daily, right? Yeah. Yeah, on the daily. So here we are. February 5th was earnings day. So, price action, look at that. It was kind of like going down towards earnings, and it just absolutely crushed. But right now we kind of have something different, and you can see similar to the last earnings on May 6th after hours. It was riding up. There was a lot of expectation going into the earnings, and boom, it tanked. Look at where RSI was. It was at 67.8. And right now, what's worrying me is that right now we're at 67.8 before earnings again. So the market's expecting Palantir to outperform. So even if they outperform, if the market's pricing in too much with the price being moved up, it might be a good idea to sell some very, very conservative covered calls. Like I'm talking about $40 covered calls, expiring a couple weeks out. It would be pennies, but hey, it's anything going into the account to buy more shares is going to be great. And I think, and something frustrating is I had this limit order for 26. Oh no, it was in this account here. This limit order for 26.93. I placed it last night. I said, you know what? If it hits that level that I had seen with some moving averages, I want to just automatically buy it at that price. Well, today, so at 26.93, right? Where was it? At midnight, it would have executed had it gone down one more penny. And I guess it hit the level that I was kind of looking at that it could go, but it was off by just 1 penny. And I was not able to buy those 25 shares. It's not the end of the world. I already have a lot of shares. But, I mean, it would have been nice to be able to make 4% off of those shares within 1 day. Look at that. A 4% move in 1 day. So, oh well. Can't win them all. Can't bottom snipe everyone. So let's go to Twitter. Let's see what's going on out there. Profile. Blah, blah, blah. I think I already showed that one. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we're in the portfolio updates. So here I was kind of showing that I sold the calls in favor of shares. And then this morning, I sold these shares in favor of calls on the underline, which is IWM. And with all this snowflake data breach with AT&T and issues going on, I thought it'd be funny to compare it. I love this picture. It's a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. It's such a ridiculous comparison. And so, A-Trades Crypto, he's a buddy of mine. We have common friends here on Twitter, and he loves to host spaces. He talks about trading, crypto, day trading and stuff. It's not stuff that I'm doing too much, but I figured, you know what, I would love to support, and join there. And he had me here. He put I think in one of them he put join me and other expert traders, and I'm like, oh man, I don't consider myself an expert trader. I hope people don't expect a lot of alpha from me. So here, this is kind of what I feel like. I'm just like, oh man, when are you guys gonna talk about Palantir? Because I'm just buying the dip. I'm just buying long-term shares. And here are the calls that I bought January 2025 on IWM, on Celsius, and on Soundhound. Let's see. Oh, and it looks like that's it. Not much, not many posts today. So with that, I'll leave it for the shoutouts. Thank you guys for watching the videos, for liking and leaving comments and feedback. If there's anything you guys would like for me to cover, just let me know. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good one.